Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the SEC Unfiltered SEC Football Game Day Show Week 2 edition. We have got a jam-packed slate of games after an electric Week 1 and a special guest helping me break it all down. Guys, before we get to that, make sure you like, subscribe, turn notifications, check us out via podcast, wherever you get those as well. You can follow us across all social media platforms as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. And don't forget to check out our friends over at Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com. Use that promo code SECU to get your $50 bonus when you play your first $5 or more lineup. Prize Picks, the proud sponsor of the SEC Unfiltered Tour, which is taking us this weekend to Charlotte, North Carolina, Bank of America Stadium, to watch Tennessee battle NC State. And on that note, again, we're talking Week 2, breaking down the games upcoming today. Tennessee, NC State being the SEC Unfiltered Game of the Week. Who better to help us talk college football on this Saturday than actor, filmmaker, comedian, and probably the most popular Tennessee fan in existence, Josh Mancuso. He joins the show. We were talking off air, a talented goofball. That's the way to describe you, myself, and probably all of us in this space. Josh, what's going on, man? Appreciate it.
That's on my resume. It says talented goofball. That's how I lead with everything. And I thank you for, I like to think of myself as the kind of the number one Tennessee fan. I think it's like me and then like Peyton Manning and then Kenny Chesney, but I'm here for sure. So
I mean, listen, I would agree with that. I would agree with that, Josh. It's a beautiful thing, man. You and I, we talked off air, obviously, I think months ago about the potential of you coming on the show, us chopping it up. I'm glad we got to this point where we're able to do it. I want to start first. Let's let the people know. I want to tease this. You've got, for the Tennessee fans watching, you've got a very, very special presentation upcoming with national championship head coach now, Tony Vitello and Kirby and the boys, man. You're running it back with that crew, man.
That's right, man.
Stuff.
Listen, we did a video with Tony last year, about a year ago, and it went pretty viral. Tennessee fans loved it, especially the ladies. They really were into it. So I said, let's do a part 2. So I went down there and shot a great segment with him. We got Kirby involved, and I wore the uniform, the whole deal. It didn't make me look any more athletic like I was hoping it would, but I threw the ball around a little bit, had a good time. People are going to love this episode. Tony's the man.
Josh, sticking with Tennessee baseball just for a moment, SEC Unfiltered, we are in month 9 of our existence. Probably the most notable moment, I would say, thus far. And if you're making content long enough and you're giving takes, you're going to have some really, really cold ones. Did you happen to see the Rocky Flop article from SEC Unfiltered? Did you see that? Did you stumble upon that?
I maybe, but I don't recall it, so I'm not sure what was in. What was in?
It was
that one?
Okay. So I want to preface: it was not me. And we've got writers, we've got contributors. I allow everyone, and this is good, by the way, for Tennessee folks tuning in that probably didn't hear this full story. We got a team here, we got a staff, and I say, listen, the beauty's in the banter. You as long as you can back up your opinion. If I think one thing, you think another, is what it is. One of our writers, Andrew Wright, before the season started, went on record, and the title of the article was Rocky Flop in caps, followed by down year incoming for Tennessee baseball with a question. So a very good lead in.
Sure.
But the article was him essentially saying, listen, I doubt the pitching staff. I doubt this. I doubt that. Don't be surprised if Tennessee has a lackluster year. And gosh, every round that Tennessee advanced, at Sunday of every weekend of regionals, supers, they get through the winners bracket. People are just tagging us with this article, just
ripping you
and
up.
then finally, when the mission was complete, so then it takes a life of its own. It gets to a point where Tennessee fans are like, all right, it's time for you to issue an apology. Credit my guy, Andrew Wright, content mastermind he is. He says, no, I'm going to double down on this unless you win the national championship. Lo and behold, they win the national title, and I reach out to Andrew. I'm like, listen, man, you got to do it. Just own. I'm not saying you got to say I'm sorry, but you got to own up to this. And so he did. I think a lot of Tennessee fans, there are some out there I think that probably still hate us, and they probably just will forever. But he owned up to it. I think most Tennessee fans were like, hey, you know what? Good on you. More entities should do this. But Josh, here's the funny thing. What gets lost in all this? We all drop our own picks. I picked Tennessee to make it to Omaha in the preseason and win the SEC East, and everybody conveniently forgot about that. So, anyways, that I think right now is what Tennessee fans maybe know SEC Unfiltered for, is that moment.
Yeah, but you know what? But you were bold enough to make the picks, and you had a guy that was bold enough to write whatever he felt, and that's what sports is all about, man. Like
Yeah.
I'm wrong in half my picks. That's what's great about it. People are like, they comment on my picks. They're like, "Stick to comedy, buddy." I'm like, "How do you know that this wasn't a comedy routine? My picks were just supposed to be funny." Um, well, that's what I told them. They're
Yeah.
serious, but when I get them wrong, I'm like, "I was just kidding," So at least you're putting them out there, man. I
Yeah,
love it.
I don't think Tony V and the boys took it too personally. I was out there in Omaha, got to hang out with them, talk
Yeah,
to Tony V, talk to Drew Beam. It was a lot of fun, man.
they're
It was
great.
great hanging out with those guys. That was a
Yeah,
magical run. But Josh, we're here to talk college football, SEC football. I want to start
let's
obviously
go.
again with Tennessee.
Mhm.
Just your thoughts on Josh Heupel, the current state of the Tennessee program. You've got Nico at the quarterback position. I mean, it's Nico mania even after 1 week. Again, you've watched a lot of Tennessee football, Josh. There have been
Yeah.
a lot of dark days before Josh Heupel took over. Thoughts right now for you on the current state of the program?
Man, I feel good. I really do. I think most people feel good. I think Heupel has done an incredible job. I think we've always been excited every year that he's been there. This is what his fourth year, and but I think the Nico hype is real. It makes me a little nervous because it's like now we're putting all this pressure on him. But I really think that they're gonna embrace that and they're gonna succeed. I'm stoked. I think there's a lot of hype around Nico. People saying things like, "Oh, he's gonna be a Heisman Trophy winner maybe next year." Maybe he's gonna, we're gonna go to the playoffs. There's a lot, you got people saying all kinds of things, and I think we'll have to wait and see. But I am super excited about where we are, and these are the days that we waited on for years, for a decade or two, to come back to the great glory of winning in football, and it is awesome. It's a great time to be involved, man.
Josh, I want to move to the SEC as a whole because, again, the current landscape of the SEC, we're through just 1 week, but obviously Tennessee, like you mentioned, was one of those teams I think was looked at as on the college football playoff bubble, right at that kind of 9-3, 10-2-ish range. If you can get to 10-2, maybe you have a signature win over, let's just say, in Alabama, your resume is going to be good enough to get in that 12-team college football playoff. But when you, Josh, look at the rest of the SEC, based off of not just what you saw in week 1, but kind of what you thought coming in, overall thoughts on the outlook, who you were expecting to be at the top, and who are some of those top competitors Tennessee's going to have to take down to get to
Yeah.
the top of the league?
Well, I mean, this is Georgia's conference right now until somebody else does something. I mean, I know Alabama won the SEC championship last year, but Georgia left out of the playoff, which was a tragedy. And I think Georgia runs the conference right now. I think Texas is going to come in, and I think Texas is going to be tough to beat. I feel like they're the top two, plus Bama, plus Ole Miss. Man, it feels like it's anybody's conference to an extent. I mean, we got some good teams right now, and it's kind of unfortunate because we just kind of eat each other up, Whereas we could end up with, you could end up with 5 or 6 teams that are 10-2, 11-1. So I think I think it's Georgia till they lose. But Texas, I think, is right up there, Bama, and I think you've got Tennessee creeping in, trying to participate. You know, so yeah, I don't know. I think it's anybody's game, but I do think that the Vols have a chance to get into that playoff if they can beat. Obviously, then you're going to have to beat either Georgia or Bama, which more than likely would be Bama if that's the situation. But it's always, Tennessee fans are always excited to play Florida, and then we go down to Florida last year and get beat. So hopefully that doesn't happen this year. Florida apparently is no good anymore, but somehow they'll have a great game against Tennessee. That's how it usually goes. So I hope that we don't lose a game that we're not supposed to lose. You know what I mean? I think if we do that, we'll be fine. And recognizing that, we've got a redshirt freshman quarterback, but we've got a lot of talent and a great offense. So I'm just excited about every game on the schedule. Honestly, my whole life is just watching college football right now. Every game, watching them all.
Josh, speaking of that redshirt freshman quarterback, Nico Iamaleava, I want you to know, by the way, I spent the entire offseason practicing that last name, and I butchered it many times. I mean, I had Tennessee fans in the comments on YouTube just dragging me for 2 things. Iamaleava, and Josh, I was one of those people, believe it or not, that said Vols instead of Vols, and I didn't even know I was doing it.
Chris.
Boy, they let me know quick. I didn't even know I was doing it. They're like, dude, it's not Vols, it's Vols.
I tell you, the first time I met Dabo Sweeney, I called him Dabo. He was like, "It's not Dabo, it's Dabo."
I love
I was
that.
like,
Dabo.
"Sorry."
Listen. Pre-transfer portal is Dabo. Current coach is Dabo.
It's Dabo.
I think it's Dabo.
And don't worry about the Iamaleava. Half of Tennessee fans can't pronounce it either, so don't let them fool you into thinking that they're like, we'll just call him Nico. That's
At least
enough.
I'm one of those people that try. I listen to some guys, and I'm not going to call them out
Yeah.
by name, but they'll just say Alama Laleva, and I'm like, you're not even trying.
You're not even
Anyway,
trying. You're just
you're not
guessing.
even trying. How good can he be, man? You mentioned Heisman Trophy. I mean, you look at this kid. I mean, it's Chattanooga, right? Week 1.
Yeah.
But for him to be as young as he is and be as in control and as comfortable, and he made some throws in that chat, like he just. And we're going to find out more against NC State. You know, I had some Tennessee fans give me some grief when I said that this was his biggest test yet. I know he played Iowa, but a bowl game and then what we're going to get tonight at Bank of America State, it's a little different vibe in my mind. I'm not saying NC State's world beaters, and the challenges will continue to ramp up. Obviously, you get an SEC play. But, I mean, is the Heisman Trophy the ceiling for this dude? I mean, he's got all the tools and the skill set, it seems.
I think he can do it. I think he's I think what I love about Nico the most is the fact that he wasn't happy with the last couple of drives they had in that first half. You know, as well as he played 300 something yards, 3 touchdowns. I mean, just killed it in the first half. He's like, I think he said we can't take our foot off their throat. And I was like, that's the dog mentality we need in our quarterback. And I think he's a winner, but he's a worker. He's smart. He's got all the tools. I think that he is a generational quarterback. He's the guy. I think he's absolutely a Heisman contender, and is going to be one of the best quarterbacks we'll see in college football. He's a little skinny. He's got to beef up a little bit. You know, I've got a workout regimen I'm going to suggest to him. This worked for me, as you can see, given my physique. So, but no, he's an incredible talent. I can't wait to see what he's going to do, man. He's the real deal.
Josh, you mentioned you're a college football fan, an avid one. Of the week 2 games outside of Tennessee, NC State, we got a jam-packed slate. What excites you most, whether it be SEC, non-SEC? Which of the games are you most excited to see?
Well, I'm excited about Texas and Michigan. I mean, how can you not be excited about that? I mean, I think Texas, this is a huge game for them. I mean, you come into the SEC, you got a tough schedule. Now let's throw in a Michigan non-conference game on top of that. That's a lot. So I think that's going to be a fun game. And then, Colorado, Nebraska, a non-SEC game, kind of cool. See what's going to go on there. I don't know how much of the hype I'm buying about Colorado or have bought about them. A lot of flash. Don't know if that's going to translate. It didn't translate too great last year. So,
Nebraska's got a young quarterback they're excited about, right?
Yeah. He's talented, and they've got. I think Nebraska actually gets it done out there. I think Nebraska is on their way back. It's the 90s are coming back, baby. You got Tennessee, Nebraska, Miami, except Florida State. They're not.
Yeah, they're done. Cycling out. Yeah,
cycling out. They're cycling out. It's
cyclical. They are cycling out, indeed. Hey, listen, you got DJU as your quarterback. You play stupid games. You win stupid prizes. So it is what it is. Josh, let's get into some week 2 picks, man. You mentioned you were talking Colorado, Nebraska. We're going to do 5 SEC games here. We're going to start with the big one you mentioned, logo game, uniform game, tradition game, whatever you want to call it. Texas goes to the Big House, Ann Arbor, to take on the Michigan Wolverines, the defending national champions. They look a lot different than they did last year. Big time kind of feeling of a tone setter game for Texas, like one you really have to have, I think, to establish, the path of the college football playoff and potentially the national title. Texas, Michigan, who you got in this one?
I got Texas, man. I think Texas goes in there and lays it to them. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I think Texas wins convincingly. I think if it's, they're in the Big House, so Michigan's got that advantage, but Texas is too good, man. Michigan is, they're still a great team. They're going to have a great year. They'll probably only lose a couple games, but they are not last year's team. And Texas is better than last year. They got a lot of talent, and they are determined to win. And I think Texas goes in there and gets them by a couple of touchdowns for sure.
Great pick. Michigan cannot throw the ball. I'm going with Texas as well. I think they're going to outlast the Wolverines. Let's go Arkansas at Oklahoma State. Josh, I feel like this is a game that's kind of flying under the radar here.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a lot of points. You saw Oklahoma State last week in their victory give up like 24 points to South Dakota State. Arkansas went 10 for 10 on touchdown drives in week 1. Granted, I mean, it was Arkansas Pine Bluff, but the Bobby Petrino effect. Again, this one's really flying under the radar. This one's really, really important for the Hogs and Sam Pittman. Arkansas, Okie State, and Stillwater. Who you going with?
Man, I'm going to go with Oklahoma State. I feel like it's a home game for them in Arkansas. They are great squad, and I have a good friend of mine who's the center for Arkansas, Addison Nichols. Love their family. I would love to pick Arkansas, but Ollie Gordon the second
Beast
is second to no one at the running back position, and if he has over 100 yards, they win. I mean, that happens almost every game. So I don't think they can stop him. And I think they will score some points, and they may cover the spread, which I think is like 7 or so. It could be a field goal win, maybe, but I think Oklahoma State gets it done.
I'm embracing the hog, Josh, and I'm nervous as shit about it. So I don't know why I'm doing it. I'm going with my gut with the Hogs. Maybe I just want to see the Hogs. But to your point, Oklahoma State, very, very good football team. They can run the hell out of the ball. And if Arkansas can't get a stop or two, it's going to be a very, very long day. Okie State can practically play keep away in the game. But I love the over, by the way. I think we're going to get a lot of points in that game.
Yeah.
Let's go. We've got an SEC game, Josh, this week, and it's one of your favorite teams, the Kentucky Wildcats. On a side note, I have been, I'm learning more and more and more. And I've always known Tennessee and Kentucky fans don't like each other. But I have been – it has really – stood out to me like there's a hatred there, like really truly a hatred with Tennessee and Kentucky people. So it's
I don't know where that came from, really.
Kentucky can't beat them, so I don't know. It's not on the field, I feel like, because again, Kentucky can't beat Tennessee. So
so what are they arguing about? I mean, what are you gonna say? I mean,
I don't know. Anyways, the lone SEC matchup, Josh, of week 2, Kentucky and South Carolina, and what some I think are labeling this as the Sunglasses Bowl. It's kind of become that with Mark Stoops and Shane Beamer. This has kind of become like a low-key heated rivalry, if you can believe that. Kentucky, South Carolina in Lexington. Who you going with here?
Yeah, I think if this was week 0 and I hadn't seen these teams play yet, I would have picked South Carolina. But after seeing them struggle against Old Dominion, I just, like most people, I'm like, that doesn't give me enough confidence to pick South Carolina. Games in Lexington. Kentucky's, they're a decent team, and I think Kentucky gets it done. Blue, let's go.
I'm going Kentucky as well. I just don't see, to your point, Josh, how South Carolina moves the football. They're kind of like Michigan. They cannot throw it. They have no passing game. I actually like Kentucky's roster this year too. I think they're an 8-win team. I don't think one of those 8 wins is against Tennessee, by the way, but I do think they're an 8-win team. So, battle of 2 new quarterbacks, Brock Vandagriff, Lenora Sellers, but I think Kentucky as well, man. To your point, like I don't know how anyone can pick South Carolina and feel good about it unless you're just a Garnet Glasses homer, I feel like. So either way.
Well, you're a South Carolina guy, right? I mean,
right. I mean, it's you'd have to put the Garnet Glasses on to feel good about it, but you have to be realistic. Yeah. All right, let's go out to the West Coast. This is the 10:30 p.m. Eastern kick. Mississippi State goes to Arizona State. The Bulldogs are a slight underdog in this one. Who are you taking out there in Tempe?
Yeah, I'll be asleep during the game, but early bedtime. I'm gonna go with the Bulldogs. I don't know why. I don't really have a whole lot of reason to believe in one team or another here. I think they're both average, but I'm gonna go with the SEC here. Arizona State is a team that honestly I know nothing about other than they're the Sun Devils, and they at some time have been good at football at different times, but I don't think that they're going to be able to match up with Mississippi State. I think State does have some good things on both sides of the ball. And I think it's almost a toss-up, but I'm going to give it to Mississippi State.
Yeah, Josh, I think you look at Mississippi State's season, year 1 of Jeff Lebby. I mean, I think you could argue this is the most important game of the year. They have to have this in order to even have a shot to get to a bowl game. I mean, all you need to know about Arizona State, to your point, Josh, is I was actually talking to somebody about this, believe it or not, that went to Arizona State, and they were saying, we never went to football games. Why? Because we stink. Right. So that's like all you need to know. I think Mississippi State, Blake Shapen, that offense going there, I think they light it up. I don't know why they're an underdog in this game. I don't understand it. But I'm going to ride Hail State and ride the Bulldogs.
I guess because they're in Tempe, but I mean, again,
the madhouse that
is. Games? I don't know.
The madhouse that is Tempe, indeed.
Yeah, indeed. Right.
Josh, let's get to the feature game, Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay.
Bank of America Stadium. Tennessee takes on NC State. I'll start with my pick and set the scene for you. I am going with Tennessee here. I will say this, Josh. And Tennessee very well could win this game by 3 or 4 touchdowns. I have been stunned, though, at the thought that this cannot be a close game. I've got Tennessee winning by a touchdown. Yeah, I'm believing that NC State, they may be as bad as we saw week 1 against Western Carolina. I kind of think, though, you come out sluggish. Like, I think they'll bounce back, play a little better. I don't know that they're that bad. I've got Tennessee winning. I feel extremely confident that Tennessee wins this football game. But I have found it interesting, again, love the passion, that Tennessee fans, I don't think I've seen anybody on social media picking Tennessee to win by less than 20. I mean, I'm telling you, they're coming at us like it's an insult to pick this to be a one-score game. So
Yeah.
I'm going Tennessee. Could they win by 30? Sure. Could they win by 20? Sure. I cannot wait, Josh, to be in the building and watch Nico Iamaleava go to work. I cannot wait to be there and see it in person. I'm sitting in like row 11 of the lower level. Cannot wait to see him up close and in person. So I'm going Tennessee, 31-24 my pick.
Nice.
I don't think there's a lot of mystery who you're going to be picking here, but give me your picks. Give me your thoughts on this game and who you locking in. Who gets it done at Bank of America Stadium?
Yeah, I'm not going to pick Tennessee just because I'm a Tennessee fan. I like to be objective and pick who I think is going to win the ball game, and it is going to be the Vols, absolutely. Now, I don't know if they're gonna win by 4 touchdowns or 3 touchdowns, but it's going to be one of those two, Chris. Not just a touchdown. Although I get why you're doing that, because I mean, all of a sudden Tennessee blows out Chattanooga. Wow, offense looks amazing. Nico is amazing. Heisman Trophy, blah, blah, blah. Well, this is NC State. They're a pretty solid team. They've got a good offense. They've got a good quarterback. So I think Tennessee's going to score some points. We know that. NC State's going to score some points too. So if our defense can hold up, I think we'll be fine. I anticipate Tennessee scoring quite a bit in the first half. NC State kind of trying to match that, but can't quite do it. Tennessee adjusts at halftime, shuts them down in the second half a little bit. I'm looking at I'm thinking like a 45-20 score is what I'm going with. So it's the Vols, baby. Vols in Charlotte, North Carolina is now Tennessee country. Let's go, Vol for life, baby. Woo!
It's Vols all day. I will say this, Josh. NC State will have to keep up with Tennessee to have a chance, and I agree with you. I don't think they're going to be able to. So there you have it, folks. Vols are going to get it done tonight. Bank of America Stadium. I feel like, Josh, it's going to be a Vol takeover in Charlotte. I am expecting one of the reasons we went to this game. Yeah, it's neutral site, but I think Tennessee fans are going to show out, man.
I think about my uncle lives in Charlotte. He'll be at the game. Both my uncles, they're going to be the drunk fans wearing orange. So that'll narrow it down. And,
that'll narrow it down to about everybody.
Yeah. So North Carolina is turning orange tonight, baby. Let's go. Go Vols. Woo!
Josh Mancuso, you're the man. Josh, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the time. Thank you so much for joining me. The SEC Unfiltered SEC Football Game Day Show, Week 2, folks. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Enjoy the football today, and we'll talk to you again next weekend.